Hi, Rob McIsaac here. We're doing another tour today. I'm here at the Juravinski and going to be walking through our labs, and I'm here with Tracy.
So I'm Tracy Carrier and I am the core lab manager here at the Juravinski and the Hamilton General. We've consolidated our microbiology services to one site so that we can have the highest end equipment and everybody at one place. So we actually have some really interesting new technology that in the past it would take you 24 to 48 hours to plate a sample and identify what that sample was and tell the physician what antibiotic they needed. Now we can do that in hours. So if we were to get a patient that came into emergency department with a couple of symptoms, maybe some weakness, some fatigue, they would have a couple of screening blood tests drawn, most likely. And one of them would most likely go to this bench for some chemistry testing, and one would go over to the hematology department. So we're going to follow a hematology sample kind of through our morning and see where that goes.
Well, I had a really great tour of our labs here at Juravinski Hospital today. It was very impressive. I met lots of very talented, highly trained people who did a great job of explaining to me just what the lab does.
Betty's our senior tech in hematology.
Hi, Betty.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Rob. Hi, nice to meet you.
And Dan is one of our technologists.
Hey, Dan.
So they're going to help
Pleasure.
us through the day in the life of a hematology sample coming through from the emergency department. So for us, we don't see the patient. We don't have access to the patient, so we don't know the whole story. So we are the piece of the puzzle that fits in based on what we know from that sample. So every sample that comes in to the lab represents a patient. And so we fit our pieces together with other areas of the lab, and we try to put that whole picture together for the physician. So Dan's made the slide. Now what, Dan?
Then we put it on the celibate, on the Midas, and it gets stained with the right schemes to stain, and then it goes over to the Celavision where it gets read by a microscope, digitized, and sent upstairs to our malignant hematology friends up there.
Every core lab has one of these Celavision instruments, and so the slides are loaded on anywhere in the city, and they're all read remotely upstairs upstairs in the malignant hematology lab.
So these results are digitally uploaded, and
So
there's no physical need to take these results upstairs. They just it's there.
So when we go upstairs, you'll be able to see that exact patient that we looked at, and that's where they're reading them on the computer screen.
You know, it strikes me that as much as our frontline people working at the bedside are critically important to delivering quality patient experience, you know, if we don't get it right here in the lab, everything else will go wrong. So you're looking for abnormalities. Is that a fair statement, or?
Yes and no. Sometimes we will pick up things that are outside of the norm that would be a malignancy or something that's definitely, you know, needs to be reported quickly.
So a couple of the areas that we didn't get to see because they're not at this site also kind of tie into this patient that comes in through emergency and ends up having their sample come through this area. So labs like histology, and pathology, which there is a lab here, but the bigger lab is at the Hamilton General, and the genetics lab. If a patient was to go through a bone marrow aspiration where the sample would come through this lab, the biopsy from that sample would also go to the pathology department at the Hamilton General. No lab is in isolation of each other. Everybody's kind of there's tentacles, we work together, and so it can get very complicated.
I think we have so much to be proud of in terms of what's been accomplished here at the lab, where we are doing something of national significance. It's the volumes and the quality and the expertise, the kinds of tests that we do, really amazing. Something I think everybody at the hospital needs to be grateful for. I certainly am. So that's it for this segment, and we'll see you next time.